G'day mate, and welcome back to Satisfactory with me, Jetty. In our last episode, we just did a little bit of slooping and scooting, and we managed to grab ourselves a whole lot of Mercedes, a whole lot of hard drives, and a whole lot of sloops, along with a pile of slugs, which means we're perfectly prepped for today's episode, because today's episode, we need to get back into design work. We are currently standing between, well, our refineries, where we have, on our right-hand side, we have our turbo fuel, which is only half running. It only needs to half run. We don't need the extra fuel yet, the extra power yet, but it's a half running. I need to go and fix up the other half. Also, on our left, we have our Pioneer's first oil refinery. It works, it does the job, it makes a little bit of plastic, a little bit of rubber, but it definitely has some problems. That's why there's some yellow lights in there, mainly because I'm not actually burning all the petroleum coke properly. But the containers are full, we have enough for right now, but today I need to improve this system. I need to improve this system by an awful lot, because we're going to start getting into, miss the crafting bench, we're going to start getting into things like circuit boards, which require plastic. Also, there's an AI limiter recipe that needs plastic. There's a high-speed connector recipe that I think needs plastic. They also need to get into computers, which is definitely going to need plastic, along with a whole lot of other things that are going to start needing plastic and rubber in large amounts, which means we need to reinvent this wheel, turn what we have here into something a little bit more grand. Now, over in our distance, we have this oil node here, which is a pure node, which we have thoroughly overclocked. I can't actually deconstruct that far away, but that is a pure node, full overclocked, which means we have 600 crude oil in this pipe. This here is also a pure node that's only clocked 125, therefore it does 300 in the pipe. We're going to be clocking this one to 250% to make sure it has 600 in the pipe as well. And then I want to rip down everything we have and do something a little bit more grand, a little bit more fitting of a mega base, so we can have a little bit more plastic, a little bit more rubber. So we need to talk about exactly how that's going to happen, exactly how that's going to work. And I need to do that with visual demonstration, which means I'm going to ask a very important question before we get into today's design work, and that is, look, can I borrow a like? I just like to borrow a like. I like to borrow a like on the video. If you're not happy with the video, you didn't enjoy the video, well, then there's going to be no design cut for you. So, visual aid time. We have our, heavy oil, our turbo fuel on the right. Now, our turbo fuel takes in 540 crude oil, turns that into heavy oil residue. Heavy oil residue we turn into packaged fuel, which means we need to, mix it with some water, then unpackage it. There is a better recipe that requires a blender. We haven't unlocked the blender yet. When we unlock the blender, we'll look at upgrading it, or probably I won't, because there's no point reinventing the wheel for the little bit of efficiency it's going to get me. And then, of course, we take that fuel, we mix that with some compacted coal, and we get our turbo fuel. But we have some extra polymer left over. I have 360 and I have 40 polymer left over. On top of that, on our left-hand side, this little build over here, is this down here. So we have 300 crude oil. We're splitting at 150. We're also siphoning off just a little bit to make just a little bit of packaged fuel. So I have some packaged fuel for the jetpack, but that we can basically ignore because it pretty much never runs. Now it's filled up the box. We could probably disconnect it and that'd be good for the next 100 hours, I would guess. But we're turning our crude oil into both plastic and rubber, making a little bit of heavy oil residue. Heavy oil residue we're turning into petroleum coke. We're burning petroleum coke, in theory, in some coal generators, except this is not entirely set up correctly. So what I want to do, I want to make plastic and I want to make rubber, and I want to do it in vast scales. And we've got a couple of options of how we want to do that. But to start off with, I want to start with a brand new crude oil, because we're going to be deleting what we have here and replacing it with, well, what we're going to be building right here. First thing I want to do is I want to start follow many of the same steps we have here, which you might say, why, JD, this gives you fuel, that doesn't give you plastic, or does it give you rubber? And the answer is going to be because fuel is going to be important. So we're going to start right here. We're going to drag this off. We're going to say heavy oil residue, which is going to give me a whole bunch of heavy oil. The heavy oil residue we're going to turn into diluted packaged fuel. Diluted packaged fuel I'm going to turn into unpackaged fuel, and that's where we're going to stop with that part of the process. Oh, no, I'm going to swap them. We're going to move you down. I'm going to move you down, and then I'm going to intentionally put you into a priority splurger, priority splitter. And then we're going to take all of that. Can I just awesome sync it? I can. Okay. The program understands how to awesome sync it. Okay. Technically, no. Technically, can I not do that? Can I technically put that into a fuel generator? Yeah. We're just going to pretend it goes away for the moment. All right. So that's step number one. Step number two is let's go with this one. This one, I want to take my tiny bit of polymer resin and I want to make polyester fabric. Okay. And I want a 0.1. Okay, that's exactly how many machines I want. Well, actually, technically I want 0. Is 0 an option? 0 is technically, no, 0 is not an option. Okay, 0, 0.1. Okay. 0 is not, 0.1 is not an option. Okay, I'm gonna say 0. We're gonna say 0 because I want to make polyester fabric. We're gonna need polyester fabric for things like gas masks in the future, but the amount of polyester, the amount of the blue stuff, the polymer resin we're gonna use is so minimal, we don't even need to count it. But it needs to be in here somewhere so we can visually see it. All right, next thing we need to do is I want to take all of, well, the polymer resin and I want to merge together. I'm going to do that with a priority merger. No, with just a, no, I just want a merger. Splurger. No. It needs to be a priority splitter. Yeah, priority splitter. Okay, so I want to take my polymer. I want to take all my polymer from all my sources. Currently, this source we've just been sinking. We're going to stop doing that. We're going to start putting it in here. So it's going to give me 800. Now, 800 is an awful lot of polymer. And if I turned all 800 of that, let's go... Okay, let's not do that. I didn't really mean to drag that back into itself because that's definitely going to make a loop. I want to turn all of that into rubber. Let's go with rubber to start with. 400 is going to be a bit too much. I want to have 12 of them. Cool. Have you changed numbers? You have changed numbers. I need to always, because the way this is calculated, it's auto-calculating numbers, I need it to always have a dump position. Okay, can I remove that? And can I do that? Okay, and then this, we're going to say, for the moment, just sink it. All right, so that gives me 240 rubber, okay? That's the important thing. I want to have 240 rubber at this point because after I have rubber, there's a really cool recipe. There's a really cool recipe inside Satisfactory. Do I have it unlocked? I don't know. I know I have one of the recipes unlocked. Whether it's the right one or not, I don't know. We're going to find out. So, in the refinery, no, I don't have the recipe unlocked. Okay, we need to go find the recipe, because it's going to be a very, very important recipe, and this is one of the reasons we did a whole lot of slooping and scooping in the last episode, and that was to get a whole bunch of hard drives, because I need to have a particular recipe. Particular recipe is going to be very important if you want to start making large amounts of plastic and rubber, and that is recycled plastic and recycled rubber. So with recycled plastic, it takes in rubber and it takes in fuel. It turns out I happen to have, do I want to put you through a splitter first? I think I want to put you through a splitter, splitter first, cool. It takes in fuel. So it takes in one lot of, for every piece of rubber it takes in one piece of fuel, and then it gives you 2 pieces of plastic. It's actually a really interesting recipe because it now means rather than having, well, my 480 polymer resin in to turn it into 240 rubber after I mix it with a whole lot of water, I can now take that 240 rubber, mix it with 240 fuel, and get 480 plastic, which is just step 1. Because after I have 480 plastic, I could then run that through recycled rubber and then mix that with 480 fuel and then get 960 rubber. You can see where we're going with this. We can really see where we're going with this in a hurry. Can I disconnect that from there? Because it should technically be connected to there. Cool. And then if I now have a whole bunch of rubber and I run a whole bunch of rubber into recycled plastic and then plug in, we're just short. Why are we just short? 240, 480, should be 960. Oh, we're just short because this 80 needs to also come down here. And now we have 1,040 because we are only using, in our first build, we're only using 18 refineries. They have 2 spare that could be making extra heavy oil. So if we bring that heavy oil down all the way down here, as you can see, we have a wonderful cross of, well, bits and pieces going everywhere. But if I bring that down there, that's going to give me a little bit more fuel. A little bit more fuel is all I need to hook this together. And this gives me 1,920 plastic. My grand total is, well, 600 oil in, with technically 60 oil from the other build, and I get 1,920 plastic out. I also, have 80 fuel left over that I can do something with. And also we have this 320 polymer. This 320 polymer, obviously, we should turn into residual rubber. Now, if I fed this into here, well, we'd have the whole thing explode. Can I disconnect that? If I fed that into there, no, you still explode. If I fed that into there, we don't have enough fuel. We don't have enough fuel to get everything done. That's really what it comes down to. I then have too much rubber that as we go through and duplicate at each stage, I just end up with too much rubber. But I can take this rubber and technically turn it into a little bit of recycled plastic. No, that gives me more plastic. I don't really want more plastic. I just want the rubber. Yeah, I can at least have 160 rubber. So I can have 1,920 plastic and 160 rubber. But also, if I was to, can I do a priority split up here instead and disconnect that and then run that there and then run this out to, say, an awesome sink to just represent that we're going to use it, and I choose to use 500 rubber elsewhere. Any elsewhere. Actually, can I delete that? Can we go through a priority merger? And can I feed you in at the bottom? Feed you in, and then feed out awesome sink. And that's around the wrong way. The upper one is the priority. The lower one is the non-priority. Cool. So if I said I wanted 500 rubber, we would end up using... Okay, I did have it around the right way. Okay, cool. If I wanted 500 rubber, I could pull 500 rubber out of the system, or a full 480 belt. Let's go with a full 480 belt. I just want a 480 belt worth of rubber. Okay, I would end up using the 160 rubber that we're making from the polymer resin from our turbo fuel build. And then I'd use an extra 320 out of, well, our new secondary duplication system, and I'd still end up with 1,280 plastic left over. So it means I'm prioritizing plastic, definitely. Plastic is always number one. It also means that I have a dynamic amount of fuel left over in the system, in the, well, fuel generation system, that I need to work out how we're going to process. It also means that this is going to be very, very complicated to put together. So I'm hoping to fit this into one episode. Very, very much hoping to fit this into one episode. But due to the complications, I guess you could say, with overflows and underflows, this could be a little bit awkward to, fully string together. But we'll do our best. So this is our plan. Our plan is to, well, remove this whole tree. But our plan is to build this complication. So the very first thing I need to do is I need to, yes, I have advanced game mode settings on to make talking through this a little bit easier. I need to build this. We have, quick refresher. No, hang on. Deconstruct, filter it to just refineries, and then drag. I have 24 refineries here. Doing which recipe? Heavy oil residue to polymer resin, which is only meant to be 18. So I have a couple too many refineries. That's probably a first problem, but we can definitely remove a couple too many refineries. But I need to build this process. After I've built this process, I then need to, well, immediately build this process again. So I just need to basically duplicate the first half of this right here for this oil node. In the meantime, I do need to keep this somewhat running, so we have some plastic and some rubber coming in. Not that we're really using it so far, but it does come down to, if I need to have circuit boards or something else that I need to handcraft something of, computers, that sort of stuff, which needs circuit boards, then I have the ability to at least get the handcrafting done. But what I need to do is I need to put down a whole bunch of refineries. Now, I do have blueprints. We have, that's diluted fuel. Well, I have packaged diluted fuel, so we have that as a blueprint. That'll put down 4 at once, so that is definitely going to speed up my process. Also, I have blueprints. It is, it's here somewhere. Heavy oil residue, that's the one. Have heavy oil residue as well. Okay, so I have some blueprints, so this should be relatively quick to put together. It's just going to require an awful lot of parts. Also, I really feel like I should be painting the pipes as we go. I've painted some of them, but I think I need to paint more pipes just for readability's sake. And I also need to, well, actually get the recipes I need unlocked. So here we have it. We are most of the way there. We have all our diluted, our heavy oil residue in and running. I've actually hooked in the oil pipe. This has been overclocked to 600. It's still being siphoned off and running the old build at the same time because, well, this is not running yet. It's very far from running. We also have our priority power switches in and done. And you say 15. 15 because, oh yes, well, the heavy oils, the compacted coal is running, at least it should be running. Okay, maybe it's not running yet. It's almost running. Okay. Okay, small things, the little things are what will catch you. The little things, you know, like actually plugging the belts in. Can you go to there, please? And oh, I see. I got most of them, but okay, cool. All right, so you guys have now been turned on. That means we're going to make more heavy oil. Make more turbo fuel. That's going to go out that pipe. That's going to turn in the other half of the power plant. I had to clean up these belts. Because well, diluted fuel is out to here already and it's not complete. It needs to be slightly bigger than the previous build because we have 2 of these refineries on this line are also going to come over here. We have the full 20, yes, plus we have the extra 2 coming across as well. So it actually means I need 29.33 refineries doing the diluted fuel, which means basically I need a row of 30 of them. Also, we have the tiny amount we're stealing to make fabric. We have a very big box full of fabric already, and then, well, we're just sinking whatever's left over. And of course, now that the compacted coal has been hooked into the other half of the build, well, that means that this guy is going to start kicking in and running at full speed, which means more polymer resin going off the sink. Meanwhile, I need to build more of these. Like I said, well, the first row, there was slightly too many. So, you know, that's been fixed because I can count. Trust me. I've got a piece of paper that says I can count. But we have 20 of these guys, and I needed 30 of the diluted fuel. If I say deconstruct, I press G to filter, and we swipe along here. We're up to 24. So I need to have, what, 1, 2.5 more blueprints. So this belt was starting to get a little bit in the way, but that's where we're up to for now. Next step is, well, hunting down recipes still, because we have the recycled rubber recipe, but I don't have recycled plastic yet. And although I've been rolling hard drives, they haven't helped so far. So I need to get some more hard drives rolled, and, well, I need to get that recipe unlocked. And also I need to, well, move this, because this is now all in my way of the next set of what refinery is doing. First off, the ones making rubber, and then we're going to have the ones recycling the rubber and plastic, and then we're going to have the ones recycling the rubber, plastic. Yep. There's a little bit of space and a little bit of refineries to go. A different set of refineries. So I'm still trying to roll the recipe I need. In fact, can I get a MAM? Hard drive library. Yeah, I've managed to roll lots of things that I haven't needed. What I haven't managed to roll is the one I actually want. So can I roll another hard drive, please? All right. So in the meantime, I've been working on other projects. Up here, we have Caterium smelting. Everybody understands Caterium smelting. It is 3 pieces of Caterium ore in for 1 Caterium ingot out. But in the meantime, I've managed to score the pure Caterium ingot, the washed Caterium ingot recipe, which is 2 pieces of Caterium ore in for 1 ingot out. And you are literally missing a connection. And then you are a splitter. Can I change you to a, smart splitter? Smart splitter. If I hold down control, I can then replace it. And I want everything to go left. And then the overflow can go forward. And that means, in theory, yep, that belt's now empty. And then all my Caterium's going to come down here, which is going to be turned into a whole bunch of Caterium ingots, which are then going to flow, well, back out there. And that'll bring it up into, well, half a build. I need to, rearrange the belts and remove this and so on and so forth. So some work to do over here, but I'm basically finding other things to do in the meantime because I've been waiting to find the particular recipe I need. And Can we jump across the map really quickly? Yeah, there's an awful lot has happened. An awful lot has happened. Yeah, just a refinery or 6. It's all built. I'm literally waiting for the recipe. So I got nothing to do but roll hard drives. Technically, I need to build water. I have to put in a whole lot of water extractors. Yeah. So, we have, as we did previously, we have our crude oil coming in. This is going to come into the heavy oil residue. Heavy oil residue is now hooked up. You're making 40, and if I turn on the filter, it is 10 of them, which is 400 into a pipe, which then runs these guys making fuel. And then I have, well, the other 10 making also fuel. And then I've just realized that I need to take 2 off here and plug that in, which means everything needs to slide over by 1 pipe. Oh boy. You need to go away. I need to go from you to you. You to you. You to you. Perfect. Okay. You can go on that side because you're going to be 11. And you know, okay, you just don't want to have a cover on you. Okay, yeah, I need to take these 2 off and bring them over here and plug them into this line. Anyway, it's back to this maths. I need to have 880 into here, and then I need to split that up into, well, actually several connections to make the right amount of diluted fuel for each of these builds. We have heavy oil residue coming into fuel. Now, counting is hard, trust me, it is very, very hard. As I pointed out earlier, I actually had too many refineries doing the heavy oil. They've been removed, that's fine, that's solved, but I also don't have enough refineries doing the diluted fuel. If we just check, I meant to have 29.33, we'll call it 30. If I filter refineries only, and I drag this line, Counting's hard. I have 26. So I need to have another 6, which is sort of okay, because I sort of have enough room at the front to put in 1 more blueprint, sort of. And then I'm probably going to have to put 2 elsewhere. Anyway, that's besides the point. I'm now at the point of hooking all the pipes to all the different things. So we're making here. Yeah, here. So this is going to be our rubber. That's step number 1. Step number 2 is the rubber is going to come out and it's going to come into here, which is going to be the plastic recipe. But I haven't managed to roll the plastic recipe yet. So as soon as we roll the plastic recipe, we can turn these guys on. This will turn our rubber into plastic. Plastic's then going to come out the front and then come around to these guys, which will then run this recipe, which will turn our plastic back into our rubber. Rubber is then going to, under here, is then going to come out 2 belts worth, because if we come back to here, we now have 960. 960 is 480 belts worth. 1/2 of this needs to go into 1/2 of this. And, well, one of these belts needs to go 1/2 of this. The other belt needs to go in the other half of this. And this will give me, if we put 2 belts in, we get 4 belts out. So I'm also in the process of bringing all the belts out to the end, where they're going to go into sinks. Because, well, no matter what, this system needs to run. It needs to run at all times. And if I can't use it there and then, well, I'm going to sink it there and then. So there's a little bit of pipe work to do, a little bit of water extractors to do. Yep, an awful lot of water extractors to do, because we need to have 1,760 water, which is what? 3 pipes of nothing but water into the system. Yeah, 3 pipes would be 1,800, and technically, no, that's all handled already. Yeah, so I need to have 3 pipes worth of water coming into the system as well. So there's still a little bit of work to do whilst I go back to rolling recipes. I think we're done. I think we're ready. There's definitely some shortcuts that have been put in because it finally happened. I finally unlocked the recycled plastic recipe, which means we can start actually turning the system on. So first thing I want to do is I need to turn on the sink. I need to make sure any excess goes off to the sink. I also need to change you to do recycled plastic. Copy that recipe. Yep. Okay, cool. You're running. Paste. All right, so you guys should now be making plastic. Plastic should come out the front, providing I've, connected all the belts. and all the other whistles and bells. And then that plastic should come over to here. This plastic is, you're doing 60 plastic. And if we do deconstruct filter, and I say just the refineries, that is 8 times 60, it's 480. So this should give me a full belt of plastic. Now, full belt of plastic needs to go into these machines, and then they should turn my plastic back into rubber. And, well, we already know we're doubling everything. So if I'm putting a full 480 belt in, I should get 2 480 belts out. So green lights, green lights, green lights. I like green lights. Green lights, and that's coming through there. We have one line going this way. Don't question the pipe. The pipe is just a temporary pipe. It's fine. Yeah, we're not going to look at the other side of the pipe. It's worse. But we have rubber going this way, and you guys don't have fuel. Fuel. This line. Okay. Can I just temporarily throw a pipe there and up, pipe, and fuel in pipe, lots of fuel in pipe, and you should get fuel. Oh, you need the other recipe. Paste. Can I paste all the pasting? I don't know why rubber's coming in my inventory, but I don't really care. Just lots of pasting, and then the output belt should be full of plastic. Then we can talk through the small things I need to fix. All right. So that's definitely rubber into plastic. Yep, like I said, we're not going to look at that pipe that's just thrown in quickly, just to make sure that's definitely plastic. That's definitely plastic, and that is definitely looks like a full belt's worth of rubber, and the other one disappears underground, which makes it a little bit harder to see. Yeah, that's the thing we're not meant to look at. But that doesn't look full yet. Oh, because it's the end. We need to wait for all the ones before you to fully buffer. You're going to have 100, 200? A stack? A stack, it looks like. So you're going to have 200 plastic in your slot before, well, things will start filtering through properly. This is why the belts are only Mark 1 speed, because you only need to bring in 60, well, 30. So Mark 1 at 60 is more than enough, and it means that they do a little bit better when it comes to first turning systems on and getting more balanced out. In the meantime, I do need to make sure... that's water. That's water. Excess fuel. I don't have a way to get rid of excess fuel yet. And you're only doing overflow, which there shouldn't be any of anymore. I'm going to need to do that. And I'm going to need to do that. Just until I get a proper overflow system built in for the fuel. Because otherwise, I end up with a situation where you can't run because you can't get rid of your heavy oil residue because you can't process the fuel and send the fuel over to these guys because these guys don't happen to have plastic or rubber or whatever it happens to be, and you guys can't produce any more polymer, which means you can't make any more rubber, which we can't turn rubber into plastic, and then plastic into rubber, and then rubber into plastic. But it looks like the system is, you guys are not running. Am I missing a belt? No. I'm missing a little bit of fuel. Well, I probably didn't need to flush that one then. That's all right. It'll build up over time. All right. So all I need to do now is I need to wait for everything to sort of back up and equalize, which will take a little while. I also need to put in an overflow for the fuel because we need a way to siphon off or take the excess fuel out of the system. And I also need to learn how to count because even though I've made the mistake 3 times now on counting the amount of refineries, if you press F to deconstruct and then press G to filter, it's very important it says filter and then it says dismantle filter, refinery, and then you use it to count, you get a much more accurate count because I keep forgetting to press the G button. So when I do this, it turns out I'm counting like the power wires and that sort of stuff. So I keep coming up with the wrong number. I need just a few more of these guys. I also still need to route these 2 off this line and into over here. Probably we're just tucking it underneath. And we have all the water hooked in. Yes, all the water's hooked in and running. Also, technically, I need to remove you. Yeah, I need to remove you as well. So we have all 600 oil going this way, which means this system's now dead. Also means I can pack up whatever's left. Also means that you're meant to be taking plastic over that way, which you're definitely not doing now because, well, it's been disconnected. So I just need to do a final systems check, neaten up some pipes, also work out a way for this rubber belt plus that rubber belt plus our original rubber, the 160 over there. The 160 we get from this system. I also need to, you need to be turned back on. Yeah, I also need to take this rubber and also make sure this rubber has somewhere to live as well. Were you running? Yeah, you would have been running. Yeah, I also need to remove this now. You can go away. We're still siphoning off for our parachutes, our parachutes fabric, but that's it for right now. So I just need to do some tidy up, and then more importantly, we can look at the sink because currently we're making 50,000 points per minute by just sinking all the excess stuff that I'm producing that I'm not really using. It just goes in the sink. Anything that overflows goes straight into the sink, which means I have resources to build, but you know, the rest of the factory can at least do something in the meantime. Also means that power is a little bit in the ouchie scale. We're already up to, well, at least 10,000 can be consumed. It's probably gonna be a little bit higher than that when all these lights go green. Probably closer to the 15,000. We are producing 43 with all the turbo fuel now running and the belts cleaned up. But yeah, it's something to keep an eye on. So let me go do the final touches, the final fix-ups, make sure all the plastic comes out and runs into a bunch of sinks. Then we could go and do a proper tour. We're 99% done, and I'm pretty happy 99% done because, well, we were sinking about 55,000 points per minute. We're now up at 174,000 points per minute, which means a whole lot of coupons. I will find something to do with the coupons eventually, but at the moment, I'm just very, very proud of this system. What we have here is, let's go all the way back to step number 1 and talk through the process. So, oh, and actually we use our visual aids at the same time. And you know what? I'm even gonna turn off the fog. Step number 1. Step number 1 is we're going to, here. Step number 1 is we're gonna make 240 rubber. So this is our 240 rubber right here. And that's just going to, actually no, we have 2 step 1s. We have our 8, deconstruct, filter, 8 making rubber. Okay, so we have 8 right here making rubber, and this is doing this process. This gives us our guaranteed 160 rubber. On top of that, I should have another 12 doing also more rubber. So if we hit deconstruct and then filter and drag this way, I should have 12 of them. I do have 12 of them, perfect. Also, do I need you? I don't think I need you anymore. You're not running. Why do you have an orange light? Because you don't have enough water. Oh. Oh. Okay, I need to investigate the water. Until I've investigated the water, I don't think I can remove that just yet. You're 320. That's only 240 water. Okay, so I would need another one of these. Water down here is special. We just don't look at it. Why? I feel like you would do better with a power pole. Yeah, it's those little things. These are the little things I need to look at. Yeah, when somebody's missed a power pole. Anyway, back through the floor. Okay, so you guys are running, you guys are making me the 160 rubber. The 160 rubber actually merges with the 240 rubber, and then we have a smart splitter. Smart splitter is designed to send it off to the first duplication process to get turned to plastic. Now, this, I wanted a way to priority merge these together. Well, technically, this build feeds this build, technically. But I sort of wanted this rubber and this rubber on the same line in the end. and I wanted to make sure that this rubber can be sunk, whereas this rubber can't be sunk, because this rubber should never back up, because no matter what, we're sinking down the line further on. And I couldn't think of a good way to do it. So we just merged the two together, made sure that rubber was always heading into this system. So this system's always going to run no matter what. And then the excess rubber comes over here. It has a sink at this point in case there's anything left over from the first system, because at the third system that can no longer be sunk, because if we sink that affects our plastic output. It's a convoluted system, I do agree. Also, it goes into storage both off this line and off the main line with, well, smart splitters. Smart splitters are the best way to do it, and then into dimensional storage. So I have plastic, I have rubber should I want rubber. Next off, we have our first plastic in a rubber row. As you can see, all that's green. Everything is happy, everything is hunky-dory, which brings us out a whole bunch of rubber. We have a smart splitter, which is right is anything, and you also have a smart splitter, which is left is anything, and then the overflow goes straight through. The reason for this is this point here. So at this point here, I want to be able to pull rubber out of the system. Should I want to pull rubber out of the system because I need rubber somewhere else in the factory? Now, I've intentionally limited it to not the whole 960 that this row of refineries can make, but I've limited it to just 480 plus the 160 we have from earlier. What's 480 plus 160? 480 plus 160 is 640, because if I type 640 in here, you can see it absolutely decimates the total amount of plastic I can make, which is a problem. I would prefer to use as little rubber as possible and hopefully turn everything to plastic. But if I need to have rubber, well, it's accessible at least up to a full belt's worth plus a little bit. And even then, well, technically it's merged into one belt, so technically the most I can pull out would be 480, which means I'm going to lose one belt worth of plastic. But as we continue down the line, we have one of these goes into the right half of this build. The other one goes all the way to the end and into the other half of the build. The fuel pipes are less than perfect, but they're good enough for right now. And yes, like I said, I can't count, so I had to put two more in here because that was the right amount we needed. Also, I had to, as I said, remove... Did I do it? I hope I did it. I think that pipe is it. Oh, that one that goes to the weapons factory. No, I still haven't done it. I still need to take these two and plug them into this system. Yeah. There's lots of little things that need to be done. But I've been, coloring the pipes so we know which ones are water and which ones are heavy oil residue, and, something. But at the end, we now have all the plastic. All the plastic has been gathered. It is all going to sinks right now. Well, technically, it's not all going to sinks. Someone is definitely going across the map. And also, Pioneer's first oil refinery has now been packed up. So we are now making a crap ton worth of points. Points per minute. Also, I still need to do a bit of a balance here because at the moment I have, the first and the third belt are going to here. The second and the fourth belt go into here. I need to rebalance this so I end up with, potentially any belt can go to any belt on the output. I need to basically have a 4x4 balancer inside Satisfactory. We can talk about that in the future, or I might forget, we'll see. The other two things I want to talk about, background projects that have happened. We already covered the Caterium into the Caterium refineries, but the same thing has happened with quartz. Managed to unlock a quartz recipe, so we could have washed quartz, pure quartz. I don't remember what it's called, but it means it's a little bit more, it's less resources coming in at the cost of having water. This is it, right? Yes, this is it. It's a weird recipe. So I have 2, 4, 8, and no, bring that back up. That's 8 times 60 each, which is a full 480 built in, and let's clock you to 100. Let's clock you to 100. So it's normally 67.5 quartz in for 52.5 out, and if we do a constructor, it would be quartz. It'd be 37.5 in for 22.5 out. Can I just clock you to 22.5 so we can look at a 1-to-1? So 37 in for 22 out, which this is 28 in for 22 out. So it's much more efficient wise, but also it was trying to find a number that would be roughly a 480 built in, and that's what we end up on at 46.72 per minute, or 89% speed is about the right amount to get a 60 in. Also, we need a little bit of water. That's 30, 60, 90, 120, and a dash of water, just to make sure it's more than one water pump, because why would one water pump? No, that'd be far too easy. Far too easy. But yes, this is our setup, which now means that's going, actually it's not really going upstairs, it's really coming over here into the weapons factory, which I realize I haven't really shown off properly. But we have, let's start at the start. So at the start, we have obviously black powder. Black powder gets converted into smokeless powder with heavy oil residue. I did mention that pipe earlier, that heavy oil residue. That travels the whole length of the map to get to here, to then have just a little bit of black powder fed in to make a little bit of smokeless powder. Yep, smokeless powder we buffer because, well, in Satisfactory, all the resources are unlimited, so you might as well buffer them. We're making our explosive rebar. We're also making, we're making knoblisks from pipes and black powder. Knoblisks also go into cluster knoblisks with the smokeless powder, and they go into the pulse knoblisks with the crystal oscillators. Crystal oscillator has a temporary build right here that needs to be replaced sooner or later. We have gas knoblisks when we have biomass. We threw together a little temporary biomass build by just throwing in some leaves and some wood, and just, you know, that'll be changed over in the future. This will all be a little bit better automated with a inventory sorting system, but we're going to get to that in a future video. Also, we have, of course, rifle ammo, which is just copper sheets and smokeless powder. We have our rifle ammo in a homing rifle, which means high-speed connectors. We also have set up for the future, this is turbo rifle ammo, exploding rifle ammo, I can't remember. Recipe's not unlocked yet. We have, no, it's explosive rebar. Yeah, I think it's exploding rifle ammo, I can't remember. Have iron rebar, we've put in 3 for the moment. I think it's going to end up being 1 long term, because you just don't need that much rebar after it's chance to buffer everything up, which means shatter rebar and also stun rebar, and I think that's all the weapons. Like, there are definitely subs we haven't unlocked, like explosive nuclear nobelisks. That's not unlocked yet. Neither, as I said, is that's the explosive rifle ammo, turbo rifle ammo. I don't remember. I think they're the only 2 not unlocked yet. Ma'am. Sulfur. It is, yeah, turbo rifle ammo and nuclear deterrent development. Yes, nuke nobelisk and turbo rifle ammo. They're the only 2 that are unlocked yet, which hopefully will happen in the next couple of episodes. But this is where we're up to. We have an awful lot of plastic, We're now making crystals as well. We have an awful lot of refineries. There is some neatening up that needs to be done above my head, just a tiny bit, the smallest amount, an awful lot. But it means that, yes, plastic is now running, rubber's now running. We now have enough to, well, step up to our first scale of mega factory. Also, if I need to have a massive amount of rubber, there's actually another 600 oil over here. It means I need to take some lesser nodes and I need to overclock them. But with all that said and done, I need to leave this video here. This has been a whole lot of work, and therefore, well, I deserve to take a day or 2 off, right? At least I hope so. So we're going to come back for the next episode where we need to get the other things automated. We need to get, well, circuits, computers, high-speed connectors, heavy modular frames, all up and done. And that means we need to finish the next part of Project Assembly. So with all that said and done, as said, as always, thank you guys so much for watching. Do hope you've enjoyed. And I'll see you in, well, the very next video. All right, bye.